What's happening, people? It's Jack the Punk Kid Hughes, joined again by Boxingroyaltee, aka Carl. We're here for the second episode of Let the Punk Talk, which is looking like it's going to be some kind of podcast now. It is 12:15 in the morning, and the reason that we are up filming now is because I'm actually staying up to watch the Royal Rumble, the WWE pay-per-view main event today. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I thought I'd treat myself to it because the Royal Rumble was always my favorite event as a kid. Like, Carl, do you follow WWE at all? Are you a fan? Did you used to be a fan?
I don't watch it no more, mate. But the Royal Rumble is always a good event to watch. But no, I mean, I watched it probably about 5-6 years ago for the big event. But no, not no more, mate. No. So I'll let you watch that, and I'll get an early night.
Mate, I'm actually a massive WWE fan. I don't even know that. Like, I've obviously growing up, I was a massive fan, and then I fell off of it like through my early teens, but then got back into it. And then when I got back into it, I was always like back and forth, on and off from it. But I always kept up to date with it. And I've gone to like a couple live events before, like when they've been over in the UK, and actually you should really go. And it's actually banging.
I've heard it's good.
But yeah, and today, like, well, I've always just kept up to date with it. Like, I've always known that the Royal Rumble is the first main event that they do, and like I haven't watched it, as I say, I haven't watched it in years, but I've always been keeping up to date with it. And I just thought, yeah, today I was like, yeah, do you know what? I'm gonna buy the network thing that they do, like their own version of like Netflix. And I was like, I'm just gonna stay up and watch it tonight. I thought I'd treat myself, so I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Terry watching it with you?
I don't know. She'll probably be up. But I tried to get her to watch because obviously I brought it yesterday and I watched WrestleMania 17, which is,
Oh yeah.
in my opinion and most people's opinion, was like the best WrestleMania ever. And I was trying to get her to watch it with me, but she wasn't having none of it.
So who then? Question straight in. Who's your 3 favourite wrestlers of all time? And I've got 3, so I'll let you go first.
So when I was younger, my favorite used to be Kane. And then when I got a bit older and I started to like respect it a bit more, my favorite become Edge. And then, but one of my like idols is CM Punk, so they would probably be like the top 3. But if I can just give a honorable mention to Jeff Hardy, because he is the guy that everyone loves. So Jeff Hardy would be my honorable mention.
I would have put my house on you saying CM Punk. Not that I own a house, but I would have put something on CM Punk. For me, yeah, I always liked Jeff Hardy. I think he was wicked, even when he come back. That's when I stopped watching it. I weren't watching it religiously then, but yeah, when he come back and then he left again. But I always liked Eddie Guerrero.
What they
and who's the third? So Jeff Hardy, Eddie Guerrero, and probably Triple H because he's a West Ham fan, and there ain't many of us about. So
is he actually a West Ham fan?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, there's pictures of him in the stadium with a shirt. And also another West Ham fan is Batista.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and there's one more, but I can't remember who that is, and I don't want to lie, and then someone say, "Oh, you're a liar." And I'm like, "Oh,
well, that's random.
But, so we did. What did we do? What was it? 3-4 days ago, and I messaged you and said, "Look, there's more questions I want to ask you."
Yeah.
Some nice comments, some good messages. I had them, you had them, to say keep it going. So I've got some more things that we will talk about, and like you said, it won't just be about your boxing career. We'll speak about each other's. We'll take the piss out of each other, I'm sure. But hopefully that's what bring people to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So where I want to start with you, Jack, is when you first started your career, you wasn't known as the Punk Kid, was you?
No, I was not.
So it was Jack the Ripper. Where did that come from?
That was just that was like my first nickname through the amateurs and all that. And I think it was given to me by my mum, actually. Like, we was all like, oh, we need a nickname, everyone's got a nickname, and Jack the Ripper come up. And then as I kind of again like matured into like a man, I was kind of a bit like, every Jack is called Jack the Ripper. I was like, this is kind of shit. I was like, I need something that kind of like separates me from the crowd, because I'm quite a different person. And the Punk Kid weren't even the first one. I've actually had loads of names throughout boxing. Like, it was kind of like a running joke for a while for my career, because I'd have a different nickname every time I fought, and like there's loads of different nicknames on all my shorts. Yeah, I've had a couple throughout my career, but obviously the Punk Kid was the one that just fitted and stayed the best, obviously. And obviously you've seen new ones come in even now, like the Lipstick Kid and all that, but I've kind of always kind of staying true to the Punk Kid. But there might still be a couple random nicknames that get thrown in the career as we progress.
from other people. So what's the cringiest nickname you've had that you look back on now and you think, why did I do that?
Oh, to be honest, I don't cringe at any of them. I just think all of them were hilarious, and they all served their purpose. But one that everyone used to hate was Dashin' Jack, which, funny enough, as we were just speaking about wrestling, it actually came from wrestling. And how that all started was it was just after the Ricky Little fight, and I had like a massive beard. Like, I grew it for like 6 months. It was massive, and yeah, so I had it for ages. And then when I shaved it off, I've got like quite a baby face, and a lot of people always tell me this, but I've got quite like feminine features, as loads of people have told me. And so yeah, well, obviously baby face and feminine features. I was just like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if I copied Cody Rhodes, who was Dashing Cody Rhodes? I was like, myself Dashing Jack. And yeah, so Dashing Jack was a thing for a while, about a year, and that was quite funny. I even when I got my shorts, I even got like the long robe that he used to wear to the ring. And when he made his entrance, he'd touch the ground and flip off his hood, and I did that when I made my entrance. Yeah, Dashing Jack I actually really enjoyed the Dashing Jack period. It was a good laugh. But yeah, that's over now. But I got it on my knuckles, Dashing.
I've always wondered, because obviously, like we said the other day, you've got nearly 50 or over 50 tattoos. I've always tried to look like, even when you're like stood next to me, I'm like, what's that saying? And I assumed it would say something like Punk Kid or something, but I didn't know that Dashing Jack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that has a ring to it, I suppose. But I'd love to see that little flick off and jump, or jump off and flick.
I would still do it, but obviously I don't wear like hoodies anymore. I've got to just wear the denim jacket to the ring now. But I brought because when I was doing because my coach has a YouTube channel, doesn't he, where he does things like demonstrating how to throw shots and stuff. And the guy that films is called Bruno, and he knows like this. I think I've forgotten where he's from, man. I think he's like Portuguese or something, and he's there's like a punk band from where he's from, and he was like, oh, I want to take a picture of you in like one of your robes, and they want to use it for like their album cover. And I was like, oh, cool. So I brought my Dashing Jack one, and Kieran was like, this jumper's so nice. He's like, why don't you wear this to the ring? And like, he was probably trying to get me to wear it, but obviously I've got my kind of like my look and image now, so it could have made a short comeback, and you might have been able to see it. But no, I think I'll just leave it in the back room for a bit.
Well, I wouldn't mind seeing the old jump and drop of the hood, but so the Punk Kid, obviously, I like Lipstick Kid as well, but the Punk Kid obviously is what you're about. So how long ago, where did that all come from?
That just come from me when I was just going through my names and all that, and because obviously I do music as well, and my music name, again, funny enough, my music name is obviously a rip off from another wrestling name. So CM Punk, the real meaning behind CM Punk is Chick Magnet Punk, which was his original name when he first started wrestling, and no one knew like the original name of what it was. So they so all the people in the crowd, because he's from Chicago, everyone used to say Chicago made punk. So that's what they thought the CM stood for, but it's actually Chick Magnet. And so I was like, if he's not going to use it, I'll use it. So I had London Made Punk is my music name. So for obviously for a little bit, I was called like LMP, which is London Made Punk. And I was like, oh, I'll give something a bit more of a ring to it. And then like I just come up with Punk Kid, and that's how Punk Kid started. And obviously I've got that tattooed there as well, Punk Kid.
Yeah, I like the Punk Kid does suit, like when you ring walk, which we'll come on to in a minute with Machine Gun Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
You've got that look, do you know what I mean? Which is punk, which is good. Like, like you say, you come out in the denim jacket, you're covered in your tattoos. So onto Machine Gun Kelly.
Yes.
Favorite artist?
He is indeed. Well, yeah, I mean, I think that again, as I've matured, I think he is my favorite artist. But obviously, I've got a couple. Obviously, I've got a Blink-182 tattoo there. So Blink-182 was like how the whole punk thing started for me, and I still listen to Blink now. The Blink-182 were the first band I ever saw live, so on and so forth. So but I think, as I said, as I now have matured and so on, I've got older and I respect music a bit more. I think CM Punk. I think Machine Gun Kelly is now my favorite artist of all time, but Blink-182 are a close second, and there's a couple others in there like Neck Deep and so on. But yeah, I'm a proper big music head, so I'm always finding new people to listen to and new things to listen to. But yeah, I think it's going to take someone special to come and knock Machine
CM
Gun Kelly off.
Punk.
Yeah, knock Machine Gun Kelly off of it.
I must admit, I not knowingly hadn't listened to any of his music, but obviously, where I on social media sometimes I post some stuff in my story about you. I'll just type him in MGK and I'll find a lot of stuff, and I think, oh, that's not a bad song. That's not a bad song. But your Ringwalk song, I can't think what it's called now. What's it called?
Bad Motherfucker.
Good song.
Yeah, it's a banging song. That's Nate Diaz's Ringwalk as well.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't know if it still is, but yeah, it's his Ringwalk.
It's one of those songs that slowly starts and gets into it very well. I like that.
That's why they fought for the. That's why they made the Bad Motherfucker title, because the Ringwalk, Bad Motherfucker, and it come from that.
So are you going to be entering into that in March?
Bad Motherfucker title. Oh, what you mean that? Yeah, I'd imagine so. It's kind of stuck now. And I remember when I come out to it, Terry said like when the second the music hit, it gave her like such a buzz. So I think people are kind of becoming a bit accustomed to hearing that when I come out now.
Was that your first time ring walking with it then?
No, No, was it my first? No, I think it was my second because
first time Terry had seen.
Yeah, it's first one Terry had seen, because funny enough, I actually when I had that song, that was a song I was going to come out to, and I messaged Josh, who's Steve's son, and I wanted to change it to "I Think I'm Okay," because that was a song that obviously another Machine Gun Kelly song, and because I related to it. And then on the day, they must have just forgot that I said that, and they played "Bad Motherfucker," and I was with my best friend Harry, walked out with me at the same time. And he was, oh, bad motherfucker, bad motherfucker. So it was just kind of stuck. And I think everyone, like when it plays, everyone knows, the punk's come in.
And the thing with a ring walk in boxing is it's part of who you are. Do you know what I mean? Like you look at somebody like David Hay, he always walked like, people knew when Ain't No Stopping Us Now started, and that intro to the song, you knew it was about to go down. Do you know what I mean? And you look at Tony Bellew, I can't name the song, but the Everton song.
Yeah,
it's from that film. I can't think what film it's from. And Derek Chisora, Hotel California, and I used to play darts. I played for Surrey, I played at a very good level. And obviously, I walked up on the stage, and I was always changing it. And my manager at the time, she said to me, "Keep a song, and you'll be known for that song." But I never, obviously, I'm sat here now, and I never got good enough to be known for a song. But it is part of an image, isn't it? Like AJ changes it every ring walk, but it's. I think Bad Mother. Fucker, we've said that word quite a lot. We should stick with that definitely, because I think, like you say, it is part of your image and it does work well.
It does, definitely.
So, we spoke about your greatest fight, what you thought was your greatest performance in your last in the last podcast. I want to now know what your greatest moment is in boxing.
There's two moments. Well, there's one moment that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. But there's two moments that really stand out. One of them Terry absolutely hates because it involves an ex-girlfriend of mine. But what can you do, man? Like, she was the one that was around at the time, you know what I mean? So that was the moment. It was the moment. Like, but so I'll come on that one last. But one of them was when I fought for the challenge belt title and I won it. Obviously, that was a big moment in itself. But one thing I'll never forget is when I was walking out with the title and I was all very proud. My cousin come out from the bar and he was like, "Oh, he's like, mate." He was like, jump on my back. And like, I jumped on his back and he like walked me into the bar and everyone just started singing like, "Oh, there's only one Jack the Ripper," and all that. And that was just such a big moment. I was so proud of that moment. And the one that like I'll never forget, and the one that Terry hates is was on my second fight, and obviously we spoke about that when everyone thought I was going to get knocked out. Everyone was like, "Oh, that's it. Jack's career's gone." And obviously, I boxed amazingly, and everyone was like, "Whoa, I didn't expect that." And everyone come running up to me like, everyone wants to be your friend after the fight. And then so I remember going back into the change room and then kind of like coming back out into the crowd. And I remember I was just walking with my head down, kind of like, having my own little moment to myself. And I remember I looked up and my girlfriend at the time come running over to me and like give me a big hug. And she started crying. And I was like, well, why are you crying? And she was like, I'm just so proud of you. And it was like one of them moments, like in the movies where they're just there and they're like, yeah, they're like, we did it, babe, we did it. Like, it was like one of them moments, and it just holds a place in my heart, and I just know I never forget that moment. And that they're my two biggest boxing moments in my career.
I think I was at the I'm pretty sure I was at the challenge belt fight. When I spoke to you, I mean, I think we should actually bring this up, Jack, because when I first messaged you, you were, as you like to say, a dick.
Yeah.
Like, I obviously told the story on Tom's podcast, but so for people that don't know, I obviously what I do, my merchandise. I messaged Jack about 6-7 weeks out from your fight, and I said to you, well, I tweeted you, didn't I? And I said, Jack, can you give me a DM, please, mate? And you said, yeah. And you DM me and said, hi, I've seen your tweet. I said, yeah, I don't know if you know. And on an iPhone screen, it must have been a message about that long. And I said, I don't know if you know, but I do a bit of merchandise. I've seen you're fighting soon. If I can help you in any way, please just let me know. And I'm sitting on my lunch at work and I'm looking at my phone. I'm going, no message. And I see, right, Jack Hughes messaged you. Oh, hi, mate. Yeah, so don't know if you know, but I'm fighting on November the 27th. How many tickets can I put you down for? And I was like, I didn't ask about tickets. And then I said to my mate at work, I said, do I reply to that? And he said, yeah, you've got to reply to it. And then I was like, oh, wait, no, I've been to your fights. This isn't a pitch. Like, well, it is a pitch, but it's not a pitch.
Yeah.
And, well, I didn't think we'd be friends, put it that way. I thought, no, he's not going to like me. I'm not going to like him. If I see him at a show, he's going to say, that's that guy that messaged me and didn't even get a ticket. And now we are where we are. So that's my favourite in boxing.
The funny thing is, though, like I do that all the time because you get all these people that do it all the time. And it used to really annoy me because you'd get so many messages on like a daily basis. And I was just like, you know what? Maybe if I just like do something stupid, I'll probably stop getting these messages. And it become like a running joke. And there was one time it was fucking hilarious. Like some guy messaged me and obviously did the same thing that you did. And he was like, obviously he was never going to buy a ticket, but he was trying to make out that he wanted to buy a ticket. And then no, it was about a sponsor actually. Instead, it was about a sponsor. And every time I would say, oh yeah, sponsor me £200. And then every time he would say something, I'd be like, oh yeah, just a sponsor, £300. I would like raise the price every time. And I think it got to something stupid, like £2,000 or something. And then he was like, he sent me his bank details. I think he wanted me to buy something. And I was just like, oh yeah, thanks, mate. That's perfect. Like that's all gone through for you. And he was like, what do you mean it's all gone through? I was like, I've just taken out the £2,000. And he was like, oh, what? Like, I don't know how he thought I was fucking being serious. And he was like, no, please, sir. Like this will ruin my life. This will ruin my business. And I was like, no. I was like, it's too late, mate. It's you wanted to sponsor me. It's too late. And we went back and forth for ages. And then obviously he must have checked his did nothing come out of his bank. And then he just plastered all over his like Facebook, like don't contact this guy. And all this, I was cracking up, man.
But surely the first thing he would have done is checked his bank account to see if it had left. Like, if someone messaged me and said, yeah, that's all gone through, I'd be like, hang on, mate, what are you talking about? That is, you should, but I know what you mean, because I've had a few people on Instagram, not obviously nowhere near as many, but like messages saying, oh, hi, we can design your T-shirts. And I'm like,
you are the T-shirt designer. Yeah.
I do. Like, what are you talking? I'm like, oh, hi, yeah, how much? Like, £28 a T-shirt. I'm like, no, see you later. Like, what are you talking? Like, I'm nobody. You don't want to come to me. You want to go to the boxers. You've got the wrong end of the stick here. So, talking about when we go post-COVID, you actually retired from boxing, didn't you?
Yeah, I did indeed, mate.
Was that
It,
just because you didn't see it coming, or what? Talk to us about that.
yeah, there was like a couple things. Like obviously, at that time, I had been with obviously we spoke about them before as well. I was with a coach, and like I thought like I said I thought he was my friend, like so on and so forth. And I was with him for like the majority of my career. And we had like a little group in the gym and all that. And then so yeah, they had like after the Ricky Little fight, pretty much just like fucked me straight off. And I just remember I was kind of bitter about it for a long time. And I don't know, it really made me fall out of love with boxing, like big time. Like I was just like, oh, it's full of nasty people. Yeah, you don't really get what you deserve, not making any money, like so many things. And and then yeah, I was training down Rob's gym down at New Kings for ages, and it was just never really the same for me. Like I just never really had that like love for boxing when I was training with Rob, and it's always quite a big not low point as in low because of what happened, but it was just a low point because I always felt that Rob's such a great trainer and such a great guy, but I never gave him 100% of what I could have give. Like I was probably only given like 50-60%. And obviously, as I said to you, in my last fight before I retired, I fought at like 58 kilo, which is like 6 kilo heavier than what I normally fight at, and four weights heavier than what I normally fight at. So it just shows how much of a shit I just did not give at that time. And then, so yeah, I had that fight. And then obviously the Ricky Little fight come up again for a rematch. And I mean, we all know the story about Ricky Little. I mean, that fight got pulled on me twice in the space of like 2 months. And then at that point, I was just like, I remember getting ready for the second one, and it was like 3 weeks away, and I was like 65 kilo, and I was just like, yeah, I was like, fuck this, I'm never fighting again. And that was that, and then I retired. But considering all things, it was kind of a good time to retire because COVID come about, and no one fought anyway, so it didn't really make much difference whether I was retired or not. But yeah, I mean, that was the story behind it.
How long did you spend out the gym then, from when you retired to when you decided, no, I want to do it again?
Quite a long time. I think I retired in January, and I don't think I did any kind of training for it for like 5-6 months. So it was
Jeez.
quite a while at the gym. And then but yeah, then I got back into it. I went back to State of Mind, which was my first club I turned pro with, but under a different trainer.
So what made you come back? Did you just wake up one day, or did you get a message, or was it? Do you know what?
Yeah, it
Had
was.
boxing come back, or was you just going, no, I'm going to get ready again?
Oh no, boxing was still nowhere near coming back. But what actually happened was that I didn't really like. I mean, you're always gonna miss kind of like the limelight of it. But as far as like boxing was going, I wasn't really thinking about it. I was quite happy. Like I was kind of made peace with it. And then Steve Goodwin, my promoter. He was doing like a thing on his Instagram. He was doing like live interviews. And he asked me to come on. He was like, "Do you want to come on?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course, I'll come on." And we just spoke about it, and then it kind of made me miss it, like doing the interviews, like speaking about it and all that, and obviously the interview itself was quite funny because I'm quite funny. So like because obviously when you're on Instagram, he was on talking. He was like, "Yeah." It was actually so fucking hilarious. Like he was like, yeah, Jack was a really colourful character. He used to come in pink shorts, red hair. There was always something funny going on with Jack, but here he is right now. And I come on, and I was wearing my bunny hoodie and I had my bunny ears on, and he just started laughing straight away. So I knew you were gonna do fucking something stupid. But yeah, so that's how it all started up again.
Was you with Steve before you retired? You was, weren't you?
Yeah, I've been with Steve my whole career. Yeah.
And then when you decided to come back, was it just a case of messaging him and saying, Steve, I want to fight again?
Yeah. Steve said to me when I retired, he was like, "If you ever want to come back," he was like, "just drop me a message," because I think like as far as most boxers go, I'd always imagine I'm quite an easy, even in general, I would always imagine I'm quite an easy person to work with because I work hard. Like I don't mess about. If you say, "Oh, there's an interview, come on this interview," I'm there. Like I'll never mess you about. I never cancel. I'm never late. I'm always on time. Like, and as I said, I work hard, I show up. Like, so there's never ever a problem with like managing me or promoting me or working with me, because I'm kind of easy. Like, if I say I'm going to do something, I'll do it. Yeah. So like, I think he always really enjoyed working with me, and I was always on at him to try and get me big fights and stuff, and he was always holding me back. But he was like, the thing I like about you is like, even sometimes if it annoys me or whatever, I would much rather someone be bugging me to get them a fight than bugging me to not get them a fight, and just fight and cruise through and fight journeyman. So he was like, that's the thing I always really liked about you. So I've always think that. Apparently, someone told me, like, whispered in my ear once, that I'm one of Steve's favourites. So I don't know how true that is, but you know,
it will be on March the 12th.
Yeah, exactly. I will be on March the 12th. Yeah, exactly.
You're the top of the list.
Yeah, definitely.
You must be pleased you come back. Obviously, like, you look. If someone said to you when you retired, look, when you come back, you're going to fight someone that's 4 weights above you. You're going to absolutely school him, and then you're going to fight the Southern Area title. You must have. If someone had said that to you at that time, you must have thought, no, you're mad.
Yeah.
That just isn't going to happen. So, how pleased are you that you made that? You went on that live. You know, because if you never went on that live, we might not be sat here now. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So, just how happy are you? Are you, your life's pretty good at the minute. You must be over the moon to have made that decision.
Oh yeah, man. Like, 100%. Like, I mean, regardless, with or without boxing, I'm generally a very happy person anyway. But boxing is like, it's my dream, and it's been my passion since I was a young kid, but it's a good sport. Like, it keeps me so fit, keeps me so healthy. Like, as much sometimes out of camp, I'm bad with the diet, but when I'm in camp, I'm good at it. I'm very healthy. I'm very fit. I'm one of the fittest people that most people know. So like, it's good for my health. It's good for my mind. It's good for a lot of things. It's good for getting women as well. So there's plenty of pluses to it. So I'm extremely happy that I'm back in boxing.
That's good. So like you say there, obviously I've seen you in the gym, and that was a week into camp. And like I said in the last one, you looked good. I had a stitch watching you. So when you say like you're so fit, when you've had that fight, you wake up on that Sunday morning, what's the first thing you want to do? Because like you say, you don't need to eat and pick. No, don't answer that. But like, do you want to be straight back in the gym, or are you one of them? Because I know you said you spent like a month out. You had Christmas, New Year. Are you someone that just, I want to go and eat what I want, or how?
I mean, I definitely eat. I always pick out the next day, 100%. I think every boxer does that. But yeah, I'm always literally, apart from my last fight, I'm always in the gym, like, no matter what it was. That's one thing Barry, my first coach, always used to say to me. He's like, the one thing I admire about you than anyone else is you're always in the gym. And he always used to say, if any of the lads here had the same dedication as you, he was like, they'd all be world champions. But he's like, but they don't. And so yeah, that was one thing with me. Like, I was always, if I had a fight on a Saturday, I'd be in the gym on the Monday, because most gyms are shut on the Saturday. So that's the only reason. Sunday, that's why I'm normally never in the gym on a Sunday. So yeah, like, I was always in the gym on the Monday, but this was the first fight. But because it's so much like different circumstances for me now, considering where my gym is, like, after like, before, I'd only ever have to travel 20 minutes to my gym, which was obviously an easy thing for me just to get up and go, and I'd be there in 20 minutes and I'd be home in 20 minutes. But now it's like, if I get up and go, I'm at the gym in 2 hours, and then I'm back home 2 hours. You know what I mean? So it's not really a thing now. I don't really, when I'm out of camp, it's a bit like, oh, do I really, after going to work, working for however long, doing 30,000 steps, picking up heavy rubbish all day, do I really want to go and travel 2 hours to spend an hour or so, then to come back and travel another 2 hours, take another like 5 hours out of my day after an 8-hour shift or something? Like, no, I don't really want to. So after this fight, I did take a while out. I did take a month, or maybe even two months out of the gym.
Well, it was Christmas as well. I think, what did you fight? November the 27th, and you're back in the gym, second week of January?
Yeah.
So it's not even 2 months. But I've seen the dedication of, so we spoke about it in the last episode, where we said, you get up at 5, you do your day, you come home, you go in, you get changed, you're out, you're back, you're running. It's crazy. But so, well, I suppose you've answered my next question there, was how quick do you want to be back in the gym? And when you say training out of camp, it must be hard because a lot of boxers say it. When you're training without a date, it is hard to stay motivated.
Yeah.
But how does that change? So you train on the Thursday and you haven't got a date, but then on the Monday you go in and Kieran says to you, Jack, we're fighting on the 13th of March. How happy or how much does that change your mindset in the gym?
Oh yeah, it changes a lot. Like as you said, to be honest, I like training. So for me, training's like it's an enjoyable thing. So it doesn't really, for me, it doesn't really change that much. But I could imagine that like people that hate training, when they don't have nothing to train for, they're probably there and they hate every minute of it. So like when they've got a goal to get ready for, it must flick a big switch. Which obviously, even as though I love training, when I'm training for something, getting ready for a fight, obviously it does flick a switch, and you're just like, oh my god, yeah, like it's even more exciting. It's even more of a rush when you're training, knowing you're preparing yourself to get ready for like a big fight.
I suppose because you do what we said, 8 weeks in the camp, ready to go. That must just fly as well. Do you know what I mean? Like I was speaking to Mark earlier, and I said like I wish like the fights were now. I wish we were getting ready now for the fights. And he said, I'm happy it's 8 weeks away. There's always stuff to learn. Does the camp go as quick as they say it does, or is it a case of what, 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, or is it oh my god, it's in 2 weeks? Oh shit, it's fight night.
Yeah, no, it does go quick. The only thing I would say is the last week, maybe even the last 2 weeks, dragged. Like honestly, the last week of the last camp was the longest week of my life. Like I've never, I don't know what it was, but it was something different about that last week of camp. It dragged, like, because obviously you don't really train, and I mean I weren't working as well, so that was probably another thing. But I wasn't working, and when I was going into the gym to train, I was just there for like 10-20 minutes, and I was coming back home. Like you have to be so like watch everything you eat. You have to, oh mate, it was just absolute torture, and it dragged out like nothing. Mate, I'm not looking forward to the last week of camping is what I'm trying to say anyway. Like again, it's gonna be even worse.
So I can imagine because obviously you're sitting there and you're on the Monday. You're what's that 11 days out from the fight. And like you say, you can't, you're watching everything that goes on your plate. You're watching the amount of water you drink, or you have to drink so much water. Like it's ridiculous how much water you have to drink, isn't it? Like you can only drink water. Am I right in saying that? Like right up before the fight.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I reckon again, I could put my house on this. But what have you got waiting in your changing room after that fight? Have you got a drink ready to go?
Yeah, well, I mean, I always just go across the road because there's a petrol station across the road, isn't it? So I just always go there and grab a Monster or something. But at the end of the fight, I think one of my friends actually brought me a Monster straight after the fight, after the last one. So yeah, that was a nice little treat for myself.
So can you not drink them then, like on fight week, or can you have the occasional one?
Well, I mean, last camp I was, but I thought obviously a lot higher, so I was like under the weight, kind of going up to it, so I could kind of eat what I want. And I mean, do you know what? So what one of my coaches taught me, Adam, I think I might have even spoke about this on the last podcast, is you can eat and drink what you want as long as you're willing to burn it off. Like I still drink Monster now when I'm getting ready for like fights and stuff. But I know I work hard, and I know I train like 2 to 3 times a day sometimes. Like that, like going for like get up, I train, go for a run, and I might train again or something, So I know I'm gonna burn off the Monster that I'm drinking. So I can do it, but the last week, yeah, because you're not really training or doing anything, so you're not really burning off that much apart from the 10-20 minutes you're in the gym, and all you're doing is really like a couple rounds of shadow, a couple rounds on the bag or something. So it's not really going to burn off that much. So for the last week, yeah, you probably have to be so super strict on everything. Do you know what I mean?
That's just something I can do. Do you know what I mean? Because like I'm one of them. Going to a shop, if I want to, I'll get that drink.
Yeah.
You know, I don't look. You see people in Tesco, didn't you? Like they pick something up from the freezer and they're like looking at the back of the packaging. It's got me. If it looks good, I'm getting it. Do you know what I mean? So I can't even imagine what it's like when you're in camp, because obviously you say you like your food, but then you have to watch what you eat as well. It's just mate. Every time I hear more about training camps, it makes me obviously not want to be a boxer. I'll stick to doing the old merchandise. But also, you've mentioned a lot of people that, like, obviously, in boxing ex-trainers. Who are your you've got some close friends in boxing. Who are they? Give them a little mention who they are.
Ryan Lukeman's a really good friend of mine. He just had his professional debut. Like, we speak a lot on via Instagram and stuff. Barry O'Connell, the guy at State of Mind, he was like my first ever coach. And he even now, like, when I can't get down to Kieran, I'll go down to State of Mind, and he'll let me use the gym down there and everything. Like, Barry helps me out a lot. Rob Lloyd Taylor was another one of my coaches that I've got on so well with. Like, he really helped me out a lot with loads of things, man. Like, Rob was like such a, like, when I was in a bad place, Rob was like a fucking angel in disguise, man. And like, he helped me get over like my last little fear, which was flying, which is how my anxiety all started, like, back in the day. Like, he took me to Jamaica and took me on like my first ever lads holiday and all that. So like, Rob Lloyd Taylor, man, was an amazing man. Obviously, Kieran Duffy is my coach now. Razor Ali, my friend. I've got another friend, Ash Lane. Like, mate, there's literally, I've got an endless list that I could sit here and speak about. Like, there's so many people that I get on with in boxing, and being a character, I think that obviously helps, because I'm a bit of a weird one, and people tend to like a bit of a weird one sometimes. So, I'm a bit of, like, as weird as it sounds, man. Like, when I first started boxing, like, you dream of being like a figure and all that, but as far as like small hall boxing goes, I'm a bit of a face around the small hall boxing scene, like, which is
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
kind of a bit of a thing for me. I'm a bit like, oh, like me, of all
Yeah.
people, like me, like. But yeah, so yeah, I've got loads of good friends in boxing, man.
Yeah, I mean, I call him Rimmel. I don't know if that's his name on Instagram, but
Yeah,
obviously Ryan, I've spoke to him a few times. He's always liking and sharing stuff. So you say about, and I agree, by the way, you are a bit of a face, because you've always fought at York Hall, but you win this fight, and Steve comes to you and says, look, I can get you a fight in any venue in England. Where's that venue?
I think that the O2 would be for me. That's like one of my things on my bucket list. It would be to fight at the O2 one day. So yeah, I think it'd definitely be the O2 Arena.
You went and watched Razor at the O2 as well, didn't you?
No, Wembley Arena. I watched
Wembley Arena.
Yeah.
The O2 Arena, I've been to the O2 a few times, and it's definitely got something about it. Like when Dillian White always fights there, it's always got that, when he comes out to it. I think that is one of the greatest ring walks in boxing. I still watch it to this day. When he fought Povetkin in that rematch in Gibraltar, and he come out and he just stood on the middle of the ramp, and you remember Eddie Hearn had all like the fireworks and that.
Yeah.
And he just stood there and he just started jumping up and down in the air. And I put it on now, and I'd still get goosebumps, because I do think, like I said here, ring walks are a big part of boxing. If you walk out to some, I don't know, classical music on the violins, nothing's going to happen. But you walk out to a bit of, I think rock and roll is always a good one. Even if you don't like it, just play a song that's going to get you. Because when I used to play on stage, I used to have to get a bit pumped, and I'd always think I needed a wee before I walked on the stage.
Yeah.
I'd go and have a cigarette. I'd walk out, and I'd know I'm on next. So about 15 minutes. I'm not joking you. I'd probably have about 8 wees in 15 minutes. And sometimes I'd stand there and I wouldn't even wee. But I was so super. I cannot go on that stage without feeling comfortable. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes I didn't, and I had to say to myself, "You don't need a wee, Carl. Like, what are you doing? Stop thinking. You need to have a wee." So, but the O2 Arena, back onto that. Like Dillian White, Derek Chisora's always fought there, and there was David Hay, Tony Bellew, obviously. AJ started there. We won't talk about AJ, because he's the best boxer in the world. But so moving on, with folk, obviously. Who do you think, like, there's a lot of people in boxing at the minute, especially on like the bigger names, like your Matchroms, your Queensberries, people like that. Who would you say is most underrated boxer in Britain at the minute? It can be of any level, small hall shows, big hall shows. I've got an answer, but I'll let you go.
That is a good question, though. It's going to require some thought into, like, I'm not good at these on the spot questions, because I know I'll say someone, and then like probably like 20 minutes later when I'm watching the Royal Rumble, I'll be like, why didn't I say him? Like, and then I'll be messaging you like, I should have said this guy. This is the guy I think is the most underrated. But do you know what?
It could be at any level.
Do
you know what I mean? Like, I say, I still stand by it, even though what he done to Chief. I think Troy Williamson's underrated. I really do.
Mm.
I don't think people understand how good he is and can be.
Yeah.
I think, and Sonny Edwards is another one. People are only just starting to realise.
Edwards is.
I know you rate him highly.
I said to you before, didn't I? I was like, I think he's like one of the best out there. Like
Yeah,
he really is, and even like again, even Josh Taylor, he's got to be, man. Like he's got to be one of the most underrated. Most people don't even know who Josh Taylor is. Like casual
yeah.
people, they don't know who Josh Taylor is, and like how can they not? He's just unified. He's done everything the hard way, literally. But it's crazy, isn't it? But
I think I said on Tom's as well. I said I think Josh Taylor's top 5 pound for pound, without a doubt. He's never turned down a fight. He's never pulled out of a fight like to take another fight. You think he's 17 or 19 fights? He said it's one of them two because I always get it mixed up. But the fights he's had in the last sort of 3 years, Ramirez, Prograis, he's fighting Cattrall because he's got to, and then it looks like he's probably going to fight Terence Crawford. But there's not a fighter in Britain that's done that. Gone up and weight and fought a guy that's absolutely bowled through every single person. And I think Terence Crawford is pound for pound number one, in my opinion. That's always debatable, but I do stand by that. I think Terence Crawford is the best fighter in the world.
Yeah, he's right. He is right up there.
He's an absolute animal for the weight and the power he's got. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously you look at welterweight, and you compare like Conor Benn, who's, I know you don't agree, fringe world level at this minute, just because of the wins. He would absolutely maul Conor Benn, and I'm a big Conor Benn fan.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? And that's people that are getting in line for a final eliminator. So if you're a welterweight, you're going to sit there and think, I don't want to fight for a world title. Crawford, bugger off, let me go. Because it's the same as at Josh Taylor's weight. When he moves up, it's going to open that division massively. So, yeah, I think that is a good shout, Josh Taylor.
I'll tell you two. One of them is retired now, and the other one is just basically had his career. He's probably going to retire in his next fight or two. But someone that was so underrated, and he never even won a world title, in my opinion, was Kevin Mitchell. And to this day, I still believe that Kevin Mitchell was an elite fighter that just got very unlucky. Like he had for obviously the years when he should have been like world champion or on the brink of world title, he was battling with like whatever he was, depression, alcohol, so on and so forth. And he let it slip with Cringiest. And I think any day of the week he would batter Cringiest. Then he fought Ricky Burns again. I think he would have beaten Ricky Burns, but it is what it is. And then he got the fight with is it Joan Lascano, isn't it? What's his name?
Yeah, I can't say it, but yeah, you're on the right terms.
I don't know how I forgot his name, but yeah, and like he was absolutely destroying him, and obviously, in my opinion, he was an elite fighter at the time. Obviously, he's past it himself now, but he was an elite fighter at the time. He was the world champion, so on and so forth. And then, lo and behold, his eye went, which was one of the worst eye injuries I've ever seen. Yeah, and ended up getting stopped in the 10th round, and then come back, and he had that fight with the fella that Ahara Davis was meant to fight, and again was beating him, but then just got caught. He was like a monster puncher and just got caught, and then unfortunately that was the end of Kevin Mitchell's career. But I mean, what a fighter! Like we see Kevin Mitchell take on some like either world class or just under world class fighters, and he destroyed them. Like John Murray, he fought the other Mexican before he got the world title fight that everyone thought was going to beat him. He destroyed him. Like, yeah, man, Kevin Mitchell was the man. But
I'm glad you brought him up because obviously when I went down to Mark's gym, Mark's trainer Paul Cook, he actually trained Kevin.
Oh,
and
did he?
Yeah, he did. He worked with him, and I was talking to Paul about him, and he said like he was incredible. He's like in the gym, out the gym, just everything. He was unbelievable. And I'm like I say, I'm glad because I do think he is up there in the top two fighters, British fighters, to not win a world title.
Oh, in my eyes, he's the best not to win a world title.
Yeah, arguably, along with maybe Luke Campbell.
And it's quite nice as well because Kevin Mitchell was one of my idols, and like I actually ended up meeting him. I sparred Louis Lin loads of times. We worked with so kind of like he knows who I am, which was quite a big thing. And I did pads with him once, and I obviously recorded it and I put that on my story. Like I've done pads with Kevin Mitchell, so that was like the highlight of mine. And the other one again, but he actually won a world title. But someone again who I think was an elite fighter, but probably will never get the credit for it, was Kell Brook. again beat he was at the time when Kell Brook was undefeated, and he was just smashing up everyone. He beat Sean Porter in America. He was just running through people, and then he got the Golovkin fight, which he was meant to obviously lose. Well, he did lose, but I mean, he was battering Golovkin until his eye went, and then obviously it got stopped in the eye injury, and then come back and fought L. Spence, and again was battering L. Spence, and then his eye went again, and then really that was the end of his career once he lost to L. Spence. Obviously, he's fought on since, but he's never really been the same. But yeah, again, and I think he was just another elite fighter that just got really unlucky.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Kell Brook, and going back onto the ring walks, he's another one.
Yeah,
You know, when all of the lights play, he's coming out. He there's a the Kell Brook fan base. Obviously, I watch a lot of interviews on boxing, like IFL TV, Boxing Social, la da da da, and they always talk about, was he forced into that Golovkin fight? Because obviously he stepped up. Was it a case of, look, there's no one really for you to fight, but there is this fight. We'll pay you an extra this amount. Do you believe that it's his choice? He could have said no, or do you begrudge him for taking that fight? Because, like you say, he was winning that fight. He's done what to Golovkin, which I still to this day don't think anyone else has. Because even when I don't think Canelo beat Golovkin in either fight, but no one's made Golovkin work so hard, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
he's not sat in his corner and thought, Christ, I'm behind by a fair few rounds. That's never happened. So what's your views on him taking that fight? Do you think he would have been forced, or do you think fair play?
No, I don't think he was forced to take it. I don't even think, like, when you look back on it, it was meant to be Golovkin Eubank, wasn't it? And something was going on, whatever it was with Eubank. I don't think that Eddie Hearn just randomly sat there and was like, called up Kell Brook and was like, this is who you're fighting. Because I think that there were so many fighters that could have just jumped in. I don't really see why it would have been a forced thing like that. I just think that Kell Brook fancied it, and he took it, and I think fair play to him. Like, life is about taking risks, and he took a risk. Didn't pay off, but you know,
but it's just unfortunate, isn't it? Like you said, even with the Errol Spence fight, like I remember watching that. I was with my father-in-law watching it, and he was saying, "Christ, who's this?" And I was like, "It's Kell Brook, mate. Like, he's just lost a fight. He smashed his eye socket into pieces." And then you see, didn't you, when he got hit in that fight? It was at Bramall Lane when he got caught, and you see straight away he was dabbing at the eye.
Yeah.
In my mind, I was thinking, like, God, no, please, just get him through this fight and let him retire on the belt. Do you know what I mean? But while we're on Kell Brook, what happens in the Khan fight?
I would still like to think that Kell Brook would beat him. Like, I mean, obviously, I've watched both of them over the years, and obviously, you know, they're both nowhere near as good as they used to be. But I think Khan looks a lot worse than Brook did. Like, I think Brook, obviously, as I said, Brook was an elite in my opinion, and I still think he's got that kind of elite like knowledge in him to win the fight, and he's got the power, which is obviously Khan's always struggled with. And I'm not really a big Khan fan, never have been, never really will be. I think obviously Khan's like what, mid-30s now. He's not as Khan's speed was his biggest asset. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's still lightning fast, but he's probably not as fast as he used to be. And I think Kell Brook has got that elite time into his game as well. And I reckon he might struggle in the first like 4 rounds or so. But I think once Kell Brook's times finds his timing and so on, I reckon that he will stop him.
I agree. I think Khan's going to come out the blocks flying. Like, Khan's on YouTube and Instagram, or I'm training 8 rounds and all this. I can't do the accent. I don't know why I attempted that, but he's doing the same sort of thing that Usyk done. And I think he's going to come out, and his game plan is going to be, I need to stop him inside the first sort of 4 or 6 and just blow him away. Because Kell Brook's a better boxer, I need to do that. But I was having this debate at work the other day, and I still think that Kell Brook could have another go, depending on the eye. Do you agree with that? Do you think if he wins this fight, he can have that sort of gatekeeper fight where he fights the guy that's there and then go for it, or do you think he should win and pack it in, both of them?
We had this conversation on Tom's podcast as well, and I said I actually think that he would beat Conor Benn if they fought. So if he beats Khan, which I think he will, I'm sure that there's a big possibility that the winner of that fight will fight Conor Benn, because it's been spoke about. And I genuinely believe that if that fight happens, I think Brook is good enough to still beat Conor Benn.
That's the only thing with that fight with me is he's a better boxer than Conor Benn. But Conor Benn carries a lot of power. Do you know what I mean? And I know you said about the Algieri fight, but he knocked him spark out. Do you know what I mean? Like it wasn't, and I know Algieri's an old man and he's more of a fitness trainer now, but he carries power.
Yeah, but Brook carries power as well.
Yeah, 100%. He does, but can Brook's eye or whatever you want to call it, cheekbone, withstand as many heavy shots? Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
It's definitely, like you say, it's definitely a fight, and I think I said it, but it's pretty much in the works because they're struggling to find an opponent for Ben. I think Eddie Hearn said yesterday that it looks like it's going to be Maurice Hooker, which is a decent standard fight. But I want to see the Avanesian fight, but I know that you stand by Avanesian beats Ben. Am I right?
I think pretty convincingly as well.
Sorry, Connor, if you're watching. But yeah, I mean, Avanesian he's a beast. Obviously, you look at that last fight, he fought Liam Taylor, which no disrespect to Liam, he was out of his depth in that fight, and he clearly went in there to just say, look, I either knock him out or I get knocked out. It was as simple as that. But I'm not going to say anything on what Avanesian's done because obviously it's known that I'm not a fan of the team he's signed with. But you think what about if Kell Brook and Avanesian fought?
Oh, that'd be a good one. I don't know, like, I don't know. It was obviously I rate Avanesian, and it's not that I don't rate Conor Benn. I think Conor Benn's improved massively since he first started. But the only thing I say is he hasn't actually fought anyone, and he can hype it up as much as he wants that he has. But be all and end all, he hasn't fought anyone. And obviously, if you look at Avanesian's last couple fights, he's been in there with some pretty good competition. He beat the what's his name, Kermit something, the Spanish fella.
Lizaraga.
Yeah,
One, Joe Smith.
Yeah, he stopped him twice, and then he stopped Josh Kelly, and then I think he had a fight with someone. I'm not too sure who it was, and then he stopped Liam Taylor. So his last 6 fights pretty much speak for themselves. And then obviously Brook, he's been on the downcline. So I reckon Avanesian probably would beat him.
Just on age.
At the right time.
I agree with that.
I still think that'd be a really good fight though.
I do want to see Conor Benn and Avanesian because I just think for 6 rounds they would just to each other.
Yeah, that's the fight. I don't care what anyone says. That's the fight that makes the most sense right now for him. And he can. I saw his interview, and as far as I'm concerned, all that was him just talking his way out of the fight. That was all it was. Yeah. I don't understand when people say this thing now where it's like, oh, he's got nothing to offer me. He's got nothing to offer. He's the European champion. As far as I'm concerned, if you're a European fighter, apart from a world title, that's the second most prestigious title you can win. Maybe you could argue the British, but that's just for different circumstances because that's a prestigious title for a British person. But if you're if you're not from Britain, then surely it's got to be the European title. It's the second most prestigious that you can win. And so to say he doesn't offer you anything is bullshit because he must be ranked in the top 5 or whatever in most organizations. I know obviously Conor Benn is, but we can go back to that whole who's he fought when so you've got 2 fighters that must be in the top 10 in every body, and who holds the European title and you hold your titles. Surely, if anything, if you win that fight, it's got to be an eliminator for some kind of world title. Surely it has to be. So I don't understand how we can sit there and be like, he can't offer me anything. The money this, money that. Surely that's a big money fight. People in boxing will want to see that fight. So I think even casual fans that don't even know David Avanesian, they're still going to watch it because Conor Benn's on it. Put it on an undercard, let it main event. That fight is going to generate money whether you like it or not, in my opinion. And as I already said, in my opinion, he's got a lot to offer him. So as far as I'm concerned with that Conor Benn interview, he was just talking his way out of the fight with Avanesian because he knows it is one of the hardest fights out there.
I think you're right. I love Conor Benn, and I think he's come on leaps and bounds. But I think the Broner fight would be a good fight for him to take. But apparently Broner wants like ridiculous amounts of money. So we shall see. I mean, it's going to be hard to make that fight now. I know Frank Warren said, "Oh, we'll put him on their show. We'll pay him," and Eddie Hearn has said, "Look, you won't pay him." So I don't know.
This is the thing, though. Yeah, right. So the three names, right, that Conor Benn's called out is Brook, Khan, and Broner, right? And he's saying that David Avanesian's got nothing to offer. What do Khan, Brook, and Broner have to offer you? I don't. As far as I'm aware, none of them have any titles.
No, they don't. No.
They're all at the end of their career, and I don't even know. Is Broner even on a winning streak? Or I think he lost his last one.
God, mate, he comes back every 3 months. I'm retired. I'm done. I mean, I'm out. God knows. No idea.
What do them three have to offer you?
Maybe just another name. I don't know. But they're not a name when they're at the end of it.
They've got nothing to offer. So as again, this is what I'm saying. He's just talking his way out of the fight because it's a hard fight and it's a fight that he, in my eyes, doesn't want.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. 100%. I get what you're saying. So, talking prospects. So going back, I'm going to give you £1 million, right? And you can sponsor any prospect, British, 5 fights or less. Who are you taking?
5 fights or less.
Yeah. Any British fighter.
Oh, this is the thing now. Now I need to try and sit and think who's had less than 5 fights.
So I'm trying to think. I haven't even thought about it either, and I wrote the bloody questions out. But you've got a match from Eddie Campbell Hatton.
I don't think I'd take Campbell Hatton.
Johnny Fisher, Johnny Hedges.
Johnny Fisher's a good one. Not really seen Johnny Hedges fight.
What's Louis Lynn on?
Louis Lynn's had loads now. He's had like over 10, I think.
Has he? Well, yeah, that's my knowledge. Then if you go to the small hall, you must know. I think Jordan Perkis. What's he had? He's had 3 or 4 fights.
Jordan Perkis had 2 or 3.
2 fights. I think it's his 3rd fight coming up. There's a lot.
One guy that I've seen, obviously, I think he's coming on to like having 10 fights now. But one person that I see spar, and I was just like, when I was watching him spar, I was like, oh my God, like this is just unbelievable. Was Dennis McCann. But obviously he's had more than 5 fights, but he was going to be the one that I was going to mention straight away. But then you said under 5 fights, and then I was a bit like, I don't even know. Like
he's bang on to be a world champion, surely. Yeah. Like it's not I don't know the word I'm looking for, but it's not natural how good he is. Like the shots he throws. I really, really rate Dennis McCann. I agree with you there, and we'll bend the rules. Yeah, I agree. Is there anyone else on these sort of shows that you look at that sort of level that you think are going to be bang on to make world level?
I don't know. It's hard to. Do you know what? It's really hard to tell with people that have only had like a handful of fights, because obviously, like the majority of people, we do fight like journeymen when we're coming up, and like a lot of the journeymen they don't really tend to throw much back, so it's real hard to engage, and until they start getting into like more 50-50 fights, it's real hard to engage and see like, oh yeah, this guy's going to be world champion soon. But I mean the I guess under 5 fights off the top of my head, the new Yafai brother that just signed with Matchroom. Oh yeah, I guess he would be the one off the top of my head under 5 fights. He's the only one that really comes to mind, but that's only because he's just won a gold medal.
Yeah, there's a few, aren't there? Like you look at the guys that Propellum have just signed, the McCormack. Is it McCormack twins? They're supposed to be like unbelievable. Yeah, and also I just had him in my head and it's gone. If it comes back to me, it'll come back to me. We'll think about it. But I think McCormack's. I think they'll look all right.
Yeah, they do look good.
I can't think.
I'd really like to see. Do you know the other? I think his name's Stephen or something. I'm not sure. The one that's got the power that's knocked everyone out except one person.
Steve Robinson.
No, before that, brothers.
Oh, sorry. You've got Pat. And you've got, I think it is Steve. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's Steve. Yeah. Him. I'd really like to see him now. I mean, he's calling out Conor Benn, But to be fair to Conor Benn, it is kind of the one thing I'd agree that he is a bit like
Yeah.
in front of his career to go back down to fight him. But that I'd really like to see him go in and step up with someone and getting a real good 50-50 fight. Terry, could you put the rumble on for me, because I think it started.
Well, we've
But
only
yeah,
got a couple more questions before I leave you to go and watch them fling each other off the ropes.
so I don't think it's not going to start for a while yet. Anyway, it's normally the last one on normally.
Yeah, it's like 5. Are you going to stay up till like 6 a.m.?
Yeah, I might as well, because I mean I've paid for it, so I might as well.
What time's your run? I know you're doing running tomorrow, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I was meant to do it today, but I thought I'd take it off and do it tomorrow. But just whenever, really. There's no time limit. Like, I mean, I can get up in the morning and do it, or I can wait to the afternoon or evening. Just whenever I want to. I just go out
And
and
what
get
is
out.
it? What is it you do? Because you was telling me when we was coming back from your gym, and I think I nearly threw up in the taxi thinking about it.
No, it's not. Normally, Kieran hasn't asked me to do it yet, but it's normally you do. It's like 800-meter sprints. So it's like you sprint the 800s, and you've got to do it within 3 minutes, and then you get a minute rest, and then you go again and you do it. And like, yeah, when I was getting ready for the Ricky Little fight, I got up to 6, and Kieran wanted me to do 10, but obviously he ended up pulling out. So yeah, man. But when I was doing the 6, I felt like I could at least do like another 1 or 2, so I could have done like 7 or 8. But that was still like 5 weeks out from camp as well. I was doing that, so
And how often a week do you have to do that?
once a week. So normally on Saturdays. Yeah,
That's 2 laps of an Olympic track. Like I
yeah,
couldn't run around it in 30 minutes, let alone run around it twice in 3.
it's painful. I'm a real good runner though, man. Like, I honestly believe if someone from like a young age took me and trained me to be a runner, I could have been an Olympic runner.
Really?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, man. Like when I was in school, I run the 100 meters in 13 seconds, and
Wow.
that was with no training, nothing. I was just naturally fast and naturally good. Like when I do my 3 mile runs and stuff, like I can do them in like 18 minutes, 19 minutes. Like the fastest I did a 4 mile was like 26, 24 minutes. Like, and that's just like with no. Apparently, someone told me once that I've got my running technique is shocking. Like, apparently, it's really bad. So that's what I mean. I've never been trained, never been showed. Like, I'm just naturally really good at it.
Just
So, like,
punch it.
I reckon if someone really trained me and took time, I reckon I could have been an Olympic athlete, like running.
You could have been the Mo Farah.
Yeah, maybe I could have, mate. Maybe I could have.
So let's learn a bit more about punkage. So we know you like the ocean. You don't like spiders. You're in America. You're on death row.
Yeah,
They tell you you've got one last meal. What is it?
I think it would be. I reckon I'd get like a Five Guys and maybe like a roast dinner as well, and I'd just demolish the both of them.
What roast? What meat?
Chicken, always chicken.
Oh no,
Yes, mate, always.
chicken. I like chicken, but not on a roast. I'm a beef, a lamb or a beef man. I can't stand turkey.
Yeah, man. I don't even have turkey for Christmas and stuff. I still have chicken.
Oh no, I have turkey just because. Like we went to a carvery this year, and I think I had 1 slice of turkey and like 8 slices of gammon.
Oh yeah.
I can't stand it, mate. I think it's dreadful. If I was on death row, I think I'd just have the biggest mixed squirrel I could get hold of, and just say,
Okay.
chuck any meat you can get with a few mushrooms. That'll do me fine. I love a mushroom. You a mushroom fan?
Yeah, I don't mind them. Like they do have a bit of a weird texture, but I eat them. Like I don't mind them. But it's not. It's probably not something I'd be like, oh yeah, throw some mushrooms on there. But if they're on there, I'd eat them.
I love them, mate. I could eat mushrooms with anything.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, anything. Even when I go Nando's, I get my chicken, my chips, and my rice or whatever I get, and I get a mushroom on the side. It's like £3 for a mushroom. One mushroom.
Yeah.
He looks at me every time. She's like, £3 for a mushroom. I'm like, yeah, it's a mushroom. Don't matter. I love mushrooms. So what about? Obviously, you said you've been to Jamaica. I didn't know you didn't like flying. So you win your fight. Steve says to you, Jack, tomorrow you and Terry, anywhere you want in the world, it's on me. Where are you going?
It'd be America. It'd either be Florida or California, because
Yeah.
that's where I was. That's where I was saving up to go to. I was saving up to go Florida when I was. Well, I spent it on I took time off work, didn't I, to go for the Ricky Little fight. So I actually wasted all the money that I'd saved up. But I was saving up to go to Florida. I wanted to go to like go back to Disney World for like 2 weeks, and then I wanted to end the holiday with like Machine Gun Kelly concert. So that's what I wanted to do. I want to go down to America somewhere, as I said, Florida or Cali, for like 2 weeks, and then end it with a Machine Gun Kelly concert. That was like my dream that I wanted to do.
Yeah, I'd love to go to America. I think I want to go to Mexico Boxing Day. I want to fly out there day after Christmas, just 2 weeks, get Christmas out of the way, and just go. But we'll see what the year holds. It looks like we're returning back to some sort of normality. We've said that about 8 times, but let's not talk about COVID, because I know your views on COVID. But then, your funniest memory, where you look back now and you still laugh.
Oh man, there's so many.
Tears of laughter.
Just in general, or just in boxing?
Could be anything. Could be boxing, where you think about it now and you still laugh to yourself.
Mate, there actually is so many, but I don't to think of like my funniest. Again, it's one of them things that I really need to like sit down and think about. I just have a feeling I'm going to say something now, and it's just like, and it's just not going to be funny. So I'm trying to really think of something that is funny. Like, oh, this is going to be a nightmare, man. I've got one. I've got one moment in my head. Yeah, it was fucking hilarious, right? So I was with my first girlfriend at the time. Her name was Jamie, and I used to have bunk beds downstairs. Obviously, when I was younger, like me and my brother used to share a room together. But obviously, as I got older, I just never got rid of the bunk beds, so we always had bunk beds. And I remember me and my girlfriend Jamie had an argument at the time, and I was just like, "Fuck off! Like, don't sleep in the same bed as me. Sleep on the top bunk." So she was like on the top bunk, I was on the bottom bunk, and I was watching TV, and after the argument, it must have been about an hour or so, and she was like, "Oh, babe, are we all right now?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess so." And she's like, "Can I come down?" And I was like, "Yeah, come on then." And so she was climbing down, and she was like, she was naked as well, and she was climbing down, and she slipped off the ladder and like flown in the air and hit the floor. And I don't know why this happened, but when she hit the floor, the TV went off and the lights went off, and I don't know how that happened. Yeah, and it was pitch black, right? And there was silent for like 2 minutes, and I swear to God, I thought she was dead. And I was there, and no one had said anything, and I was like, "Hello," and she answered back, and she was like, "Hello," and obviously that moment coming, like I was like, "Okay, she's okay," and I was like, "I thought you were fucking dead," and then I went to turn the TV back on, and the TV wouldn't turn on; it was broken. So obviously she just fallen naked on the floor and like probably really hurt herself. The TV weren't turning back on. I just remember I switched and like, "Fucking idiot, you broke the fucking TV." Yeah, that was the only moment I can think of off the top of my head for some reason.
Was she okay? Did she break anything?
Oh no, she was fine. Just broke the TV. That was it.
Hope she repaired it.
Yeah.
I got a few funny, but not so much funny, but like when you hear about it, you're like, what an idiot, like funny. Do you know what I mean? Like, me and my mates, it was about 10 years ago now, and we'd been out in Kingston, and by Kingston, this club, there's a big river, obviously the River Thames, and we just walked out of the club, and there was about 6 of us, and my mate said, "Who dares me to jump in the river?" I was like, "Well, if you want, like, you ain't going to jump in the river." It was like December, freezing cold. He's like, "I will jump in the river." And on the following Tuesday, we had like this big darts thing where we was all halves on the winnings, and it was like 200 quid each or something. So you just wouldn't risk nothing. He's stripped down to his boxers on the edge of this riverbank at like 3 o'clock in the morning, jumped in the river, and he's bounced straight back up and just screamed, "Ouch!" He's like, "What the hell's happened? Like, what have you done?" He's got out the river, mate. He's got a glass bottle stuck in the bottom of his foot. You imagine how? And I'm stood there and thinking, like, how are you going to get it out?
Yeah.
And he's picking it out of his foot. Obviously, if they say you get glass, you're meant to leave it.
Yeah.
Mate, he had like 20 stitches in the bottom of his foot, which he couldn't have done because it was tickling him too much.
Yeah.
Guess who got drawn to go halves with him on the Tuesday night at darts? Me. And I got semi-finals and got like £500. He got 50 for turning up, and I had to give him 275. But to be fair to him, he did say, "Look, take it. I don't want it." But just stupid moves. Do you know what I mean? Who jumps in the river, let alone in the summer, in the freezing cold night? Do you know what I mean? But there's always things like when you ask these questions, there's always things like you say you're going to think back later and you're going to go, "Ah, shit, I wish I mentioned that."
Yeah.
So if you have something, bring it back next time.
Yeah.
It's one of them things. But is there anything else you want to talk about? I don't want to hold you from the Royal Rumble.
No, I think that's it, mate. I think we've covered some good ground today.
Done all right. Hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, not bad.
20 past 1 in the morning.
Yeah, it's past the time that I've needed it to pass.
Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you, mate.
And stay working hard, and we'll catch up soon.
We will do, mate. We will do.
All right, mate. Sweet. Thank you very much.
Oh, peace.
Take care. Bye-bye.